Have you ever sat down in a regression with a client and a client is recalling something extremely traumatic, right? And in your mind, you're like, holy shit, I cannot believe that this person went through this, right? Sometimes it's really, really traumatic and unfathomable and unimaginable that you do feel really low about it, either very sympathetic or empathetic with your client, or your own shit comes up within the session, right? And so this definitely happened to me when I was trained in traditional methods. I've had clients who were very, very distressed when they recall these memories and even went back to past life memories, and they were very, very distressed. And I didn't know back then how unnecessary this was. Now, I'm not against clients being emotional. Them being emotional is actually a great thing, as we know, because it releases the pent up shit that they've held for a very, very long time. But the difference in regression is that some therapists are actually not trained to do them. Some therapists do not know any trauma-informed practices or what to do afterwards. And it can be very, very dangerous for the client to bring them those memories up if they do not receive the support after, or if they do not know what to do afterwards, because either the therapist doesn't know or they just haven't asked, right? Or they just really haven't learned the coping mechanisms to do so. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I saw this a lot in my traditional training. I'm starting to see a lot of it now in forums and social media. People like talking about themselves. And, I do see some people who have had things like regression and them really bringing up old abuse, going home, being sent a recording, and then getting worse afterwards. Now, of course, that person needs to talk to their therapist about it. But can you just imagine a person not knowing what they're doing and all of this memory comes up? Sometimes because we are in this world and we know what to do, we don't appreciate how distressing that could be for another person. And so this is why I'm really, really against regression, especially if done by the untrained eye. Luckily, personally, I have had a decade long of nursing experience to help me, because I literally lived in trauma and mental health. So I had those skill sets to help my client, but not all trained hypnotherapists do. And so that's why in conversational hypnosis, we never, ever, ever do it. And if you are someone who does do regression, then jump on board because you don't need to do that shit anymore, and your client results are going to be better anyway. But at the same time, just be mindful when you start using these practices, even if it's something like past life, it can be very, very traumatic for the client, especially if you have, or your trainers haven't trained you how to deal with things like ab reactions. I mean, we weren't. I was in a school where we were taught regression. It was mentioned in one sentence when what an abreaction was, but never what to do afterwards. And there was no support regarding how to actually deal with them, which is very, very unfortunate. However, in our conversational hypnosis trainings, it is there because it is super duper important to learn what the abreaction protocol is, just in case, even though we don't force our clients into going into memories. So really something important to consider. And because this is not really talked about much in our world, and safety first always for you and